Can you tell which one is the real Gap logo? The correct answer is both of them. In 2010, the popular brand Gap decided to rebrand itself with a new logo that lasted only for 6 days but probably cost the brand $100 million. In an attempt to boost the brand after the 2008 crash, Gap decided to reboot its brand. Except that this reboot was limited only to the logo, and they massacred it worse than Itachi. The new logo was a 360 from the original one. They changed from a classic serif typeface to a modern sans serif one, and they even reduced the classic blue box to a little gradient square. The design choices were rather reductive here, and the rebrand was a complete design failure from all angles. Worst of all, they did not even offer any reasoning for this rebrand. This alienated their loyal customers who were deeply attached to the logo. I mean, with luxury brands, the name tag and the logo is pretty much what you're paying for. Rather than make a strategic shift followed by a signal to consumers, they signaled first. People saw the same website, same stores with the same merchandise, but with a new logo. It didn't make any sense, and the resulting backlash was instant as well as intense. And might I add, justified? As has been the case since the dawn of social media, this move was met with a lot of public ridicule. People mercilessly made fun of the new logo, calling it amateur, generic, and embarrassing. Designers even offered to redesign the logo better for free. Someone even made a parody Twitter account of the Gap logo with its feeling hurt, which is pretty funny to be honest. It was a total shitstorm. In the midst of all this, Gap leaned into its PR full throttle. Suddenly, after seeing all the better redesigns, they started claiming that it was all a crowdsourcing project. They started acting as if the ridicule and the criticism were all part of the plan. Obviously, the internet was having none of it. Finally, 6 days after the chaos started, the president of Gap announced that they were retiring the new logo and bringing back the original one. It's hard to estimate how much this entire controversy costed Gap, but some estimate that the cost might be as high as $100 million. But obviously, there are no proof for this claim. Now, this isn't the first time the Gap logo has been redesigned. In fact, the first logo looked vastly different than the one we have today. For nearly 2 decades, the Gap logo used a circular font for its word mark, with an added D at the top. It wasn't until 1986 that the iconic blue box was introduced with the classic serif typeface. This logo remained for around 30 years with a mild hiccup in between in 2010. Then finally in 2016, Gap rebranded itself once again. They kept the classic monochrome typeface with some extra gap between the letters. Yeah, that's pretty original. But they also dropped the classic blue box. I mean, this redesign is pretty much in line with the monochrome rebranding trend a lot of luxury brands are following these days. I am really not sure why they all want to look the same. These kind of rebrand blunders are obviously fairly common in the design world, and this one barely even lasted a week. So why am I talking about this today? You see, this controversy is a very good example of how we form relationships with typefaces and fonts. Fonts have a personality of their own, and they add it to wherever they are typed. Not only that, but the typefaces we like and choose reflects on our own personality. To quote Sarah Heinemann, fonts are like typographic selfies. You are drawn to typefaces that reflect on your own values and aesthetics, and you dislike them when they do not. A change in typeface can bring customer loyalty in question, as was the case with Gap. Gap is a high fashion brand, and the original logo presents these values with a serif typeface and a royal blue colored box. However, the redesign threw all this in the trash. They went with a modern sans serif typeface, and that to Helvetica, which was already overused by 2010. This, along with a little gradient square, made the brand look cheap, tacky, and ordinary. Not really the qualities you want in your luxury clothing. This obviously alienated the lifelong customers who failed to see the value in this redesign and got disconnected from the entire brand. So you see, that is the power of a typeface. Choose the right one and you build lifelong brand loyalty. Choose the wrong one and you risk losing your government. But more on that in another video. Anyway, choose your typefaces wisely, and until next time, this is Design with Anirudh.